Welcome to the show. My name is Charlton with Big C. This is Charlton and Big C Sports coming to you worldwide on the Big C Sports Network, on the number one network in the United States of America. And Big C Sports has been voted the number one sports show in the universe, according to Big C and them good old boys down south. I want to say bienvenidos to all of our listeners in Latin America, also across the pond in London, England, as well as Paris, France. Of course, you good old boys in Canada. You know we love you in Africa, the Big C tribe, but there's no one we love more than the good old boys down south in the land of the free and the home on the brave on a beautiful Christmas Eve 2018. Big C, how's it going for you good old boys down south?
Well, Charlton, I figured that tomorrow night will be a feast. Well, matter of fact, tonight there's going to be a whole lot of reindeer in the air. So, I'm going to be able to fill up my freezer for the rest of the winter.
I'm almost afraid to ask it, Big C. What does reindeer taste like, and is it best cooked, baked, or fried, Big C?
Well, Charlton, it's a little gamey, but, as they say, it's organic because it's free range.
Yeah, that's so funny. I believe that. Who would eat Santa's reindeers other than the good old boys down south, Big C? That's incredible. I want to say today's show is sponsored by your Northern California Cadillac dealers, home of the all-new Cadillac Escalade, the standard of the world. And when you go by and test drive yours, tell them Charlton and Big C sent you. Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas, Big C. So much going on in the sports universe. Even Santa Claus is making his rounds to hear the Big C Sports Show. I want to ask you, Big C, everybody's trying to celebrate the rebirth of Christ, the resurrection of Christ, but some of the good old boys in the grocery stores, they think that Christ was about eggnog and liquor, Big C. How we get that mixed up, Big C?
Well, somebody wanted to be blissful. And that was, I think that was one of the names of one of the reindeers, Bliss or something like that. I think Christmas is all about singing and celebration, but you get too much of that mixed up eggnog, you'll be sleeping through it.
Yeah, they be sleeping through it, man. It's so funny. They talk about now how people are celebrating Christ, but they're celebrating Christ by standing in line at the shopping malls. And I just wonder, America's funny. I have some Jewish friends. They don't celebrate Jesus, but they love the holidays because if they own, merchants, they have a lot of people make a rush to buy things as they celebrate Christ that has to have a gift wrap. But everybody knows all fear and love and war. I do want to ask you on the Big C Sports Show, what are you grateful for this holiday season? We get ready, next week starts another new year, and we're blessed to have a great 2018. I believe 2019 will be even more miraculous, Big C. What are you grateful for? Your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, one of the things, as I say all the time, I'm grateful for waking up every day.
Yeah.
But I'm grateful for the health that I have left in my life, to be able to enjoy, to endure, to see family, to talk with people, Charlton, to be able to share some of my thoughts daily on the radio with you and to our listeners. But to be appreciative, to have opportunity to get ahead, to succeed every day in life, Charlton. I don't sit up and have illusions or grandeurs about things, Charlton. I just love the fundamentals about life.
Yeah.
When people sit up and stress and worry too much about what they don't have or what they have not achieved, Charlton, you take the wrong path.
Yep.
I like to be humble, think about being healthy and having sanity every day, Charlton.
Yeah.
And being able to love and be loved back.
That's a great thing, Big C. I know that when I look at the holidays, it's so commercialized in the United States of America. Christmas, and people get together, celebrate church, but they made it about opening toys, which that means a lot of people, they don't even know what God is. I know growing up in a household being told about God and praying and having faith, everybody has their own choice. You can choose to believe what you want to believe, but I just hope, the wrong message, because Christ is about rebirth and the belief that there's better things to come, where there's afterlife or in this life. But I think the wrong thing that's happened in our country, I don't even have it happen. A lot of people who even love God, children who love God, they may feel bad because they don't have a big Christmas tree full of toys. And I thought, how in the world did we mix up the message to how many toys you can have as opposed to maybe salvation or having a faith? You don't have to be rich to believe in God. You can be rich, poor, black, white, male, female to believe in God. But when you make it about commercialization, is she going to go to Jared's? If he loves you, he's going to go to Jared's No, Jared's got nothing to do with how much somebody loves you, Big C. If they love you, they're going to buy you all the things that you could ever want in the world. That has nothing to do with love. And I just hope that as parents, that people can make sure that the kids understand it's not about how many toys you have. It really is about having a faith in God, believing that you can do anything you want to do. I do want to say, in the great world of sports, in the NFL, there's a lot coming up this weekend. It's almost like Christmas, Big C. This weekend has so much to decide who's going to play after Week 16. And that's the great thing I love about the NFL. The NFL, you're not allowed to criticize a coach like you are a player. You look at the Redskins, they cut their safety, DJ Swearinger, because of criticism. I don't think that's fair. You should be able to criticize anybody, Big C. Your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, this is the mentality of the NFL. If you listen to what LeBron James said last week, he said the NFL players are run with a slave mentality owner.
Yeah.
Which is very true. And his statements came very profound. He had a lot of, drawback in mainstream media for making that statement that said that the NFL owners were like slave owners.
Yep.
And DJ Swearinger and the Washington Redskins, that scenario played out, Charlton, for the criticism of a defensive coordinator by a player for making bad calls in a game.
Yeah.
That's what the player felt because that's what they were given to operate with.
Yeah.
And so he was released today.
But tell me,
and it's profound that LeBron James had made that statement in his barbershop show that he has on HBO.
Yeah.
And everybody in mainstream media wanted to throw shade at LeBron James. They want to say he was being negative and unrealistic. Well, the NFL proved out what LeBron James made a statement on after he made the statement.
Yeah.
Because they cut a black player because he criticized a coach.
Yeah.
But a coach can criticize a player all the time. You get it all the time in the media. This is the second time in the last 3 weeks, Charlton, we've seen an African-American dismissed in the NFL from their job for criticizing a white individual, Charlton.
Wow.
Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay, Winston Moss, was fired for criticizing Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers is not getting this team into the playoffs, Charlton. Highest paid player in the league.
Yeah.
And here's a scenario with DJ Swearinger in Washington.
Yeah.
Criticizing a coach for not calling a good game, and he's released for Christmas.
Yeah.
So it is a slave mentality, as LeBron James said. As much as people want to criticize it, ask yourself, if you're critical of something that's not being effective, why should you lose your job and not the person that's making it ineffective?
I know. That's about reality. And if you think about it, if you are an airline mechanic and you're working on airlines that fly 30,000 feet in the sky, Big C, and you have people that want to report back to what needs to be done. What needs to be done to make sure this plane flies safely. Could you imagine criticizing the airline because of whatever reason and losing your job as opposed to fixing the problem? I just think that's incredible. It shouldn't happen, but we know it's all fair in love and war. And thinking about even criticism and whether they want to get rid of somebody. Todd Bowles, will he be out as head coach for the Jets? After a big loss to the Packers, even though when you look at their quarterback, Darnold's starting to play a little bit better since he sat out and got the chance to look at some things differently. He's actually playing better football now. Now, if he's playing better football, isn't his head coach Todd Bowles, Big C? Why would there be talk about letting go of Bowles if he has a quarterback that's starting to improve under Bowles, Big C? Your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, the three head coaches right now, the biggest hot seat, really the four, are all African American. You're hearing all this drawback about African American coaches in Arizona, in Denver, Pittsburgh, and New York, saying that they must go because they're the problems to the team. But everybody will tell you that the Jets have no offensive talent.
Yeah.
They don't have an all-star running back. They don't have an all-star receiver. But all that comes down to the head coach, not the general manager who is structuring the contracts and having $77 million in cap space because he didn't want to pay anybody this year, Charlton. For next year's team. So, but the coach gets blamed for that because you put marginal players in because you can get them for cheap. And so this is the thing. You see that Sam Darnold's playing better. This is what you have to look at. Is that where is he going to be next year? Todd Bowles is 2 years removed from the playoffs, Charlton. And losing his job. And it's proven that way in the NFL. Any African-American coach that's 2 years removed from the playoffs is in a likelihood to lose his job. You know, and yet we've seen white coaches stay around in the NFL for a decade, never making the playoffs.
Yeah.
So, you know, you have to ask yourself, how do you build a team in the NFL? You have to have player stabilization to start with.
Yeah.
Not only that, you have to have coaching stability. It's like Mike Tomlin in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
You realize he has a better winning percentage, Charlton, than Chuck Noll and Bill Cowher in Pittsburgh.
Yep.
But yet everybody's calling for his head. He's been to 2 Super Bowls. Only Chuck Noll, who went to 4, went to more Super Bowls than Mike Tomlin in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
So why does Mike Tomlin have to deal with so much negative rhetoric being in Pittsburgh? Why? Because Terry Bradshaw wants to shoot off his mouth because he went to 4 Super Bowls? Ask Terry Bradshaw, would he have gone to those 4 Super Bowls, Charlton, without all the players on his team from those historical black colleges?
Yeah.
The NFL and the AFL and the Pittsburgh Steelers were built through historical black colleges.
Yeah.
Those players don't exist anymore, Charlton, where you can go in and get them for cheap and play. Also, the Steelers' inability to sign Le'Veon Bell.
Yep.
If Le'Veon Bell had been on the roster in Pittsburgh, Charlton, that was a guaranteed 3 more victories right there, Charlton. So the Steelers wouldn't be sitting here worrying if they're going to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
So management has to be looked at when they would not offer Le'Veon Bell a stable contract.
Yeah.
Because when they lost James Conner, all of a sudden they started losing games, Charlton.
Yeah.
You've been without that starting running back.
Yep.
The last 3 games, you lose them.
Yep.
So now you're blaming the coach because management won't commit to a player. They commit to Ben Roethlisberger.
Yeah.
And, you know, he's committed as many assaults off the field as any NFL player, like Kareem Hunt and Ray Rice.
Yep.
He still has a job.
He's white.
Don't want to say, hey, you know, Ben, you're cut, you're suspended.
No.
The NFL has never done that to him.
No.
But look at his history of what he's done at Lake Tahoe and in Atlanta.
Yep. And
but he still has a job.
And you can
so
Google.
that's the same way they look at players and they look at coaches. Depending on your complexion is how we will judge you.
And only Big C Sports will point that out. And you can Google everything we say. We're up for the Everett Law Moral Award for Excellence in Broadcast Journalism. It's a panel of all white journalists, so we may not get it, but we earned it, whether they give it to us or not. You look at Tomlin, 124 wins, 65 losses, 1 tie. He's 8-7 in playoffs. He has a Super Bowl win. And if you think about him in 12 years of coaching, there's only 3 coaches that have a better active winning percentage than him, and that's Belichick for the Patriots. He's better than anybody in the universe, Big C. And then Andy Reid, who's never been to the Super Bowl. So really, among active coaches that have won Super Bowls, is only...
Randy's been to 1 Super Bowl with the Eagles when they lost to New England down in Jacksonville.
Right, but he did not win it, though. He's still winless. So the only ones, active coaches, that have won Super Bowls is Belichick for the Patriots and Tomlin for the Steelers. Is anyone talking about Belichick losing his job? If Tomlin has to go, you got to reshuffle everything. Maybe LeBron James knows what he's talking about, this slave owner mentality. Without Big C Sports, there would be no equal time to push back on that. And that's why I'm always saying, Google everything, especially Google the media outlets that are starting this garbage about he has to go. Google their names, Google who they work for, because if they're wrong, then why are you listening to somebody who's wrong? Don't listen to an airline pilot who can't fly his plane and get you there safely. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, it's very profound. But why is there so much negative and drawback? You know, there's no blame of Ben Roethlisberger. Everybody's saying, you know, it's Tomlin. Ben is the one throwing the football out on the field, whether he throws it to his receivers or not. The Steelers have as talented of a receiving corps as any team in the NFL.
Yeah.
From the tight end to the wideouts. When you look at Brown, you look at Schuster, you look at McDonald at tight end, you look at Hayward or whoever else they put at wide receiver.
Yeah.
Le'Veon Bell was the missing factor. Look at the Steelers' record last year with Le'Veon Bell, Charlton. Look at the Steelers' record this year without Le'Veon Bell.
Yeah.
Management refused to give Le'Veon Bell a guaranteed contract.
Yeah.
So if you don't give those players security, now all of a sudden, Charlton, you're out of the playoffs.
Yeah.
Whose fault is it? You can't say, well, I can get a back, that Tomlin has to have a back as good as Le'Veon Bell.
Right.
No, he's not going to get them. They're not falling off the tree anywhere, Charlton.
No.
This is what people don't get.
Yeah.
And no one in the media says anything about the GM or ownership
No.
of the Steelers. it's Mike Tomlin's fault because Le'Veon Bell didn't sign. No,
Yeah.
Le'Veon Bell put out his request. But you think about this. Mike Tomlin has almost 3 times as many wins this year as John Gruden.
Yep.
What the hell is any media outlet not talking about John Gruden should be out in Oakland?
Yeah.
You know,
Nobody.
but yet they're talking for the coach to be out in Arizona, who's African American.
Yeah.
They're calling for the coach to be out in Cincinnati,
Yeah.
who has twice as many wins as Gruden.
Yeah.
They're calling for the coach to be out in Denver, who has twice as many wins as Gruden.
Yep.
And so this is how negative that the media is, just like the ownership of the NFL. It's a slave mentality.
Yeah.
If these guys are not getting it done for you, then they got to go. The white guys can stay, but the black guys got to go.
Well, let's be honest. It's a white-ran media. I mean, that without Big C Sports, you wouldn't hear any pushback on that. All of the GMs that run these major radio and TV networks are all Caucasian men. The only time they really know black men is in the sports business. They don't go home and break bread with them. They may not live in the same neighborhoods. They have that same good old boy mentality. If you don't have a number on and wearing a uniform, who are you? And so seeing black men in power, just like President Obama, got a lot of
Well,
pushback.
think about this, John.
Yeah.
Does LeBron wear his jersey when he's doing his barbershop show? No. And so now he gets negative, feedback
Yeah.
from the media because he doesn't have his jersey on his back.
Yeah.
Whenever he's doing something to promote LeBron James, the man, the business person, he gets negative feedback from the media.
Yeah.
As long as he's dribbling and shooting a basketball,
Yeah.
he's okay. But the minute LeBron does something as a professional, non-athletic male,
Yeah.
all of a sudden there's negative drawback from the media about him.
Well, let's be honest. That's white media. That's mainstream media, and that's why God created Big C Sports to push back on that garbage, because you got to be checked with it. And they've never been checked in the history of the country, Big C, until Big C Sports came along. But I do want to bring something up. When you think about how great football is, and 70% of the talent is black men. I know mainstream, they hate that too, but that's a fact. The Baltimore Ravens and the Cleveland Browns used to be basically the same organization. This weekend, the big game will decide the division. If Baltimore wins, they may win that division. If the Browns win, they'll finish above 500. But it also may open the door for the Steelers if the Steelers can beat Cincinnati. There's a lot going on in that division in itself. Can you imagine the twist of fate with all of those three things coming together like a big ocean wave? Big C, your thoughts?
Well, you think about this with Baltimore. They're playing with a quarterback, the last quarterback taken in the first round,
Yep.
versus the first quarterback taken overall.
Yeah.
And everybody that said that quarterback that was taken last in the first round shouldn't even be a quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah.
But look how he's changed the fate of that franchise,
He
Chuck.
sure has.
He goes out and beats the San Diego Chargers last week.
On the
Everybody
road.
said the best team in the NFL last week, even myself.
Yeah.
He went out, and I'm not saying he did it by himself, Charlton, but he went out and constructed a victory.
Yeah.
He threw some of the best passes in the game, where we know how efficient a quarterback that Phillip Rivers is.
Yeah.
There was one, he hit the tight end down the seam, Charlton. Perfect ball, dropping it over the shoulder.
Yeah.
But here it is, if Baltimore wins, there was talk about firing Harbaugh.
Yeah.
He said, well, I'm going to hitch my shoulder to this young black quarterback that everybody said can't play.
Yep.
He's been 5-1 since starting Jackson, Charlton.
Yeah.
He didn't have 5 wins with Flacco.
No.
And everybody said, well, he's the leader of the team. Well, he's leading the cheer on the bench, Charlton. I think as a player, you
Yeah.
want to get to the playoffs because everybody else has embraced this young player, Charlton, on the team. All of the defensive players, all the offensive players. He's brought an air of excitement, Charlton.
Yeah.
Minorities do that, whether it's a coach or a player, Charlton. You bring that entertainment to the game.
Yep.
And so here it is, a player that has total respect for his coach, the organization, and the NFL, and Lamar Jackson.
Yep.
On the flip side, you got Baker Mayfield, who's become sort of a horse's hind end, okay?
Yeah.
A donkey's hind end. That's what
Yeah.
it becomes.
Yeah.
Here it is. He's taunting his former head coach on the sideline, Hugh Jackson, Charlton,
Yep.
during the game. He had done that the first time he faced him, Charlton.
Yeah.
So when I look at this air of disrespect and arrogance from this player, one of the things, I don't know if he realizes, if he's playing Cincinnati last year, next season, Charlton,
Yeah.
they got this linebacker called Vontaze Burfict.
Yep.
That if you're running, he don't mind taking a penalty.
Right. Right.
You know, and I think the team pays his fines when he does certain things.
Right.
But there's going to be some players from Cincinnati next year, Charlton, whether Hugh Jackson is there or not, looking for this young man.
Yeah.
And there's going to be some other players in the NFL looking for him also. But when we talk about disrespect and arrogance, let a black quarterback do that in the NFL, Charlton. And look at all the drawbacks that you're going to, especially if he's a rookie.
Yeah.
But there's veteran NFL quarterbacks, Charlton. Think about all the backlash that Cam Newton took several years ago, and he was MVP of the league. Well, the antics. You know, he didn't go after a coach. He was just doing a sign in the end zone, a dance.
Right.
But all the negativity that came towards him, I'm not getting that same negativity about Baker Mayfield, where he's going after a former head coach and current assistant coach in the NFL. I mean, the NFL doesn't even fine him for this, Charlton.
No.
But they fine black players like it's lunch. Think about the kid Eric Reed in Carolina.
Yeah.
He gets drug tested basically every week because he stood with Colin Kaepernick.
Yeah.
So when they think about these things, Charlton, think about fairness, even in the NFL.
That's very true, Big C, and that's why Big C Sports has been on the air. We're the only station that pushes back, but we know all over the world, for the most part, you've only heard the angle of the sports business as well as mainstream media from white people.
Did you say angle or Anglo?
Anglo or the angle, the way you look at things, the prism through white Americans. Now, we just told you, most white Americans only interact with African Americans when it's in school, the workplace, or and around the sports environment. Most do not go to a black doctor. Most do not go to a black dentist. Most do not go to a black barber. Most do not go to a black, optometrist. Most do not go to a black OBGYN. Most do not go to places where they have to deal with African Americans unless it's in the sports business. You say, well, what's that got to do about anything? Well, when it comes to hearing what people think, how people feel, what people are going through, go back to the Kerner Commission. Lyndon Baines Johnson had that commission over 50 years ago. It talked about two society. Until Big C Sports came along, you didn't hear anyone with a black voice telling you how the black perspective, we don't have a monolithic view on anything. But as black Americans, we are fortunate enough to work in corporate America to see black and white, to understand what people talk about in the corporate and business setting that many white people aren't privy to unless they have black men around who are kissing their butts so they keep a job. So that's why I push back on mainstream media. And Big C Sports is the only sports show that say Google what we say. That's why we love challenging mainstream and let the universe decide what's right, Big C. I just think that's so important, Big C. Your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, I just want people to see things not through rose-colored glasses, through some clear glasses.
Yeah.
And be honest with yourself about any and everything you see, think, and do. When you're not involved in something personally, you don't understand. I've had the privilege of being a black man my entire life, a black professional athlete, Charlton. So I've been able to see the entire spectrum. I grew up in a time when it wasn't easy in America to be a black man, to be a black person, to get opportunity. And even now, Charlton, opportunity is not prevalent every day. But there was drawback even when I got into the industry, Charlton.
Yeah.
As a player, as a broadcaster, all of these things.
Yeah.
There's never been equality. As much as people want to say, we even look at our black broadcasters on television, Charlton.
Yep.
And tell me where they equal. They are running with the script. They're going up and down, what they have on the prompter, what they have on their notepads. They're not being honest about situations, Charlton.
No.
And if they were to be completely honest and say what they said as a player, not just a broadcaster, I understand that they want to keep their position in television.
Yeah.
But at times you have to just push the envelope a little bit.
Just be honest.
Be honest about what's going on, because you don't have to reference that exact point that they're talking about with a player or coach. Say something about when they played, what occurred.
Yeah.
That takes them out of the spectrum. That basically has a second-end spokesperson.
Yep.
They won't even do that, Charlton.
Well,
and that's what bothers me the most.
Well,
and then when they speak negatively of a black athlete, Charlton, I'm like, do you have a mirror somewhere in your locker room when you put on your makeup?
Yeah. We know that's part of it. just be honest. You don't have to. Not most people are going to like you anyway. At least if you tell the truth. If it's something they can Google, they know if you were telling the truth or if you were lying to them. Big C, I want to run down just some thoughts for the weekend coming up and add whatever you want to with the NFL. Then we'll cover some NBA as we're doing today's show in honor of Christmas and also just in honor of the sports universe and how sports connects people on this great Christmas holiday weekend. You know, Green Bay 44, the Jets 38 in overtime. Just think about that, 77,000 people seeing that game. And just give me your thoughts on that, Big C.
Well, Charlton, you know, it was a game that Sam Darnold had a little bit of a coming out, but Aaron Rodgers was able to pull one out. But that's what he should do. That game should not have been as close as it was, Charlton, against the hapless Jets. You got a rookie quarterback who playing against the guy that everybody said was the greatest quarterback in the NFL at the start of the season.
Yeah.
And he battled him, Charlton, to overtime.
Yeah.
So when I look at that, the team that gained the most from that, Charlton, was the Jets, because their offense came alive late in the season.
Yep, it came alive late in the season. So congratulations, Todd Bowles. You know, you have a quarterback that started out shaky. Now he's starting to improve. Now that he's starting to improve, if the Jets do what the Buccaneers did when Tony Dungy got the Buccaneers to the NFC Championship game, they fired him and brought in a white guy in Gruden so he could get the glory. Maybe that will repeat itself again. We don't know. The Vikings, 27-9 over the Lions. Two quarterbacks that are making, $84 million for Cousins, Big C. And then Stafford. If anyone thinks that Stafford's worth the $100+ million, I mean, you got to tell me why. It doesn't make any sense. They can't win a thing. 51,000, actually 61,000 on the hands to see that game. The Vikings, they still got to get a win to get into the playoffs. Not so sure they'll get it with Kirk Cousins. I think they have a toughest goal probably this week against anybody. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, when you just look at those two quarterbacks, period, Cousins guaranteed $84 million. You got Stafford guaranteed $100 million. And this is what you're getting, two teams that are struggling trying to get into the playoffs, Charlton.
Yeah.
And the Vikings were very fortunate to come out with that win. If you look at the final play of the first half, Charlton, the officials gave them time on the clock, even though the clock had run out. They added a couple of seconds, and they hit a Hail Mary pass to propel them to a halftime lead, Charlton. But this just shows the lacklusterness. Look at the Vikings' record under Kirk Cousins. Your cousin. And look at where they were this time last year under Case Keenum. They were solidified, Charlton, and had won the division under Case Keenum. They bring in your cousin, and they're struggling to make the playoffs. They could be on the outside looking in if they lose this weekend.
They could be looking in. But, Stafford, Big C, he was 18 of 32. He had 116 yards. 116, I was thinking in the first quarter, 116 yards in 4 quarters. 116 yards, he's making $100 million. There's a thing called renegotiating contracts. If you got guys stealing money, isn't that what an ownership would do? They got rid of Colwell for having a winning record. They fired Colwell to bring in a guy who can't even get to 500, Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, that's the nature of the beast. Everybody is walking around saying, you got to have these quarterbacks. Let's be realistic, Charlton. Look at the playoff teams. Look how many young quarterbacks, Charlton, have made the playoffs. The landscape of the NFL has changed. That old hat club talking about we got to have this eugenic-looking white quarterback who stands 6'4", 225, and is a drop-back passer. The last I checked, Charlton, when I'm looking at teams making the playoffs, look at Russell Wilson.
Yep.
Probably the best playing quarterback in the NFL right now. I mean, he outdo Patrick Mahomes last night in an epic battle up in Seattle.
Yep.
When you got to win, you win. Russell Wilson nearly 6 feet, if he's 6 feet, Charlton.
Yeah.
I look at Patrick Mahomes, young, athletic African-American quarterback also. When we look at Deshaun Watson, he made a move in a game yesterday, Charlton. I think 6 Phillies receivers missed him.
That was amazing.
That had hands on him.
Yep.
And that's because he wanted to win, not because of athleticism, Charlton. It's because he was keeping himself alive, Charlton, in the pocket. So when I look at these quarterbacks, look at Lamar Jackson, all the criticism of him. 5-1 as a starter right now, Charlton. Has the best winning percentage of all starting quarterbacks in the NFL this season, and will. So, when I look at this drawback, Charlton, against these young men making the playoffs, making minimum salaries, okay, in their position, and you're saying, well, I got to overpay this guy who is not winning. but I got to have him on my roster. Well, if that's the case, even in Dallas, Charlton,
Yeah.
with Prescott,
Yeah.
what is the value of these quarterbacks in their next contract negotiation, Charlton, for winning?
Yeah.
But you keep going back to these guys with your cousin and Stafford.
Yeah.
You know, he completes 18 passes for 112 yards, Charlton.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's 8 yards of reception.
It's a joke.
Eight yards. He's not even completing first downs.
No.
But he's worth a guaranteed $100 million.
That's crazy. Big C, there are people talking about Dak Prescott. He's not the guy for the Cowboys, and, you know, maybe they need to move on with Dak Prescott. I'm talking about guys like even Chris Collinsworth. He's part of this white establishment media. But if they look today, the Dallas Cowboys, they won the division. Okay? 27-20 over the Buccaneers. Last I checked, their quarterback was Prescott. So he's helped them win the division twice, Big C, in the short time that he's been a quarterback with that team. Twice.
In 3 years.
In 3 years. And you got to say one of those years was his rookie year. Okay, so for a rookie to come in, you know, who's that quarterback at the Jets? Donald's not winning the division with the Jets. You got that good boy Mayfield. He's not winning the division with Cleveland. You got a lot of, you know, it's like, who's that guy, Allen? He's not winning the division for Buffalo. But you got a guy in Prescott that's been much maligned. He's won the division 2 out of 3 years with the Cowboys, and really has not had a number one receiver to go to. They had Bryant, and now they got Cooper. But I wonder if Collinsworth or any other mainstream media is going to say how they were wrong. If you make a mistake, just say, you know what, I was wrong. Do they even come back and say that, Big C? Your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, there's been nobody said that they were wrong about Kirk Cousins. And last I checked, the Dallas Cowboys have a better record than the Minnesota Vikings.
Yep.
And the Minnesota Vikings were in the NFC final last year, Charlton. They went out and spent the house on your cousin to play quarterback. It's been a losing team since then.
Yeah.
No one's saying that about Matt Ryan. No one is saying that the Falcons need to move on from Matt Ryan. They're blaming Steve Sarkisian instead of blaming Matt Ryan, Charlton.
Yeah.
No one is saying Matt Stafford has to go in Detroit.
No.
You know, it's everybody else but him.
It's always
think about
somebody.
this. Eric Ebron, Charlton,
Yeah.
who was the number 1 draft pick for that organization 6 years ago, out of North Carolina, drafted number 9 overall. He leaves that organization, Charlton, and goes and plays with Andrew Luck.
Yeah.
He scores 14 touchdowns this year, Charlton.
Yeah.
14 touchdowns in one season.
Wow.
And he's an all-pro tight end now, Charlton, playing with a decent quarterback that knows how to utilize receivers.
That's true.
Matthew Stafford won't be in the playoffs. The Colts potentially can make the playoffs.
That's a good
So
point.
when they're sitting there and they criticize these players, Dak Prescott, I mean, he doesn't have a friend in the media anywhere, Charlton.
In Texas.
But as you stated, look at how many games Dak Prescott has won in 3 years in the NFL, Charlton.
Yeah.
He has won more than 30 games as a starter in 3 years in the NFL.
Yep.
But yet he has no respect from the media. They're all saying Cowboys need to move on. Move on to what, Charlton? Go do like the Minnesota Vikings did, sign a friend of your cousin
you're not
and lose. That's what they need to do. Ask the media, what did Tony Romo do in his final game as a Dallas Cowboy?
Yeah.
Ask the media, what did Tony Romo do in his second to final season as a Dallas Cowboy?
Yep.
Did he do anything to equal what Dak Prescott has done in his 3 years as a starter with the Dallas Cowboys?
Well, in the words of the great Jimmy Johnson, how about them Cowboys, Big C? The Patriots 24, the Bills 12. I thought Allen was going to make a difference based on the media. They were all saying he has a rifle for an arm. He may go hunting with a rifle, but he does have a rifle for an arm. But are you accurate? He wasn't accurate enough throughout the season. You know, the Bills have had kind of quarterbacks coming in and out. Allen was 20 of 41, so under 50%. He threw 2 interceptions. He had 217 yards, which is just about 50 yards per quarter, Big C, just over 50 yards per quarter. But that's not what they said they were getting when they got him. Of course, he's not going to outduel Tom Brady, but I think Kaepernick did when he had his first start against the Patriots, Big C. But the Patriots, they're the number 2 seed now, 24-12 over the Bills. This is a team that can go on the road and win at Kansas City, but I don't think the Raiders can beat Kansas City next week, so they'll probably finish number 2 seed. Do you like their standing, Big C? Your thoughts?
Well, I think the NFL and all the fans out there that are not in New England don't like this situation with the Patriots. You think about it, 10 consecutive years winning the AFC East title, Charlton.
Yeah.
Just pure dominance. And people say, well, they're in the East. They're in the NFL, Charlton.
Yeah.
No team has equaled this in the history of the league, Charlton, to win 10 consecutive titles, and especially in the Super Bowl era.
Yeah.
They go out and they play. They put the players together to play. Whatever situation, they overcome it year after year.
Yeah.
We've seen suspensions. We've seen players hurt. We've seen players inactive, Charlton.
Yeah.
But they come out and they win. So when you look at the Patriots, Charlton, they have an opportunity every year until they lose in the playoffs.
Yeah.
They're just like the Warriors in the NBA. They're there until somebody knocks them off.
Always
but they're always going to be a tough out.
Always a point. Big C, the Falcons 24, the Panthers 10. Disappointing season for the Falcons. Disappointing season for the Panthers. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, the Falcons, the Super Bowl is going to be in their home stadium.
Yeah.
And I know they had much ballyhooed hopes of being there. And they do have the opportunity, Charlton, because they can buy tickets. So
like
they can still be in the game.
Now,
But, when you have the second highest paid quarterback in the league, Charlton, you have one of the top receivers in the league, you got to find out why you're not there.
Yeah.
That's what you have to do. So they really have to do some soul searching this offseason.
Yeah, they got to do that, Big C. We also look at the Colts with a meteoric rise with Andrew Luck, 28-27 over the Giants. It was a great game, actually. And then to outdo Eli Manning, you look at Luck, it really shows that you can have surgery, you can come back better, and he actually has gotten better. Manning, 25-33, one pick, 309 yards. And then Luck, 31-47, one pick, but 357 yards. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, this is a team with smoke and mirrors. Andrew Luck gets all the publicity, but there's a lot of low-drafted picks on defense and some free agents in his backfield that have really produced for this team this year, Charlton, and are not going to get any credibility. Andrew Luck is not going to throw for 350 yards, Charlton, unless somebody's catching the ball. One of those players is Ebron, free agent, that I talked about. You look at their running backs, free agents. You look on the defense, Charlton, Darius Leonard should be the defensive rookie of the year in the NFL, leading the NFL all tacklers, Charlton. By over 25, he's leading all tacklers in the NFL. And he was a second-round pick out of South Carolina State, a historical black college. So when you look at Andrew Luck, quarterbacks get the credit when you win. I know he's not blamed when they lose, but you got to look at that supporting cast. Rookies on the offensive line, Charlton, that's doing a heck of a job.
Yeah, they're doing a great job with them, Big C. I also want to look at, when we go down the line, the Jaguars 17, the Dolphins 7. Disappointing season for the Jaguars, AFC Championship game last year. A 10-point lead going into the fourth quarter. And you know how the NFL can make sure they get Brady back in the championship game. But 17 to 10 over the Dolphins. Your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, disappointing season for both teams. You look at the Dolphins. They lost to a backup quarterback in this game, Charlton. Ryan Tannehill got outdueled by Cody Kessler. This is a guy that was a number one draft pick several years ago in the NFL. Cody Kessler, it became a journeyman. He'd been in Cleveland, Kansas City, now Jacksonville, Charlton. In a matter of 2 years. So, you got to look how low this Dolphins franchise is. Are they going to talk about getting rid of Gates? They said Gates would be the next, Bill Parcells. All of a sudden, he can't even, win his division, let's not get into double-digit wins over the past couple of years, Dalton.
That's very true. Big C, the Browns and the Bengals, Ohio, Cincinnati, and Cleveland, a 26-18 win. We talked about it somewhat earlier. The Browns, Baker Mayfield, his disrespect for Hugh Jackson. Wouldn't be surprised if he has an ACL, some type of injury coming up in the next season. Not only is the media saying, hey, we like his moxie, these Browns are not going to be pushed around anymore. Imagine if a player went at Coach Belichick, or if a player went at Andy Reid, and if a player went at some coach in the league, and the white media backs the player who's showing such disrespect. We talked about how to make the league safer. No targeting. You can't target anymore. You really can't sack the quarterback anymore. You got to play, touch football with him. But there's no pushback on mainstream media. I even hear some white guys on TV saying, hey, he's sticking it to his old coach. Now, if someone did that to Belichick or Andy Reid or any other coach or Pete Carroll, they would not condone that if a player behaved that way. I remember P.J. Carlesimo and a player back in the Oakland, the Golden State Warriors, Latrell Sprewell. Well, they had a fisticuff altercation, and the whole media took up for the coach, even though they were both wrong. Okay, Latrell Sprewell and Carlesimo back in the day. But this now, Big C, is only verbal, but I've yet to see mainstream say how wrong Baker Mayfield is for setting the precedent for players to come after a coach. Big C, it doesn't make any sense. Your thoughts?
Well, no, Charlton, they did set a precedent. They said it's acceptable. Think about all the pushback Jalen Ramsey got, the defensive back from the Jaguars, for criticizing NFL quarterbacks in offseason in Vanity Fair. And everybody has blasted Jalen Ramsey all season long. He's only one player on the Jacksonville Jaguars defense, but they've blamed him for all the woes. You know, Blake Bortles, he's not a good quarterback, and everybody knew that.
Right.
But they blamed Jalen Ramsey for it. But the black player, Charlton, didn't have the ability to criticize. That's what they're saying. He can't be critical. But the white quarterback can be critical. You go back to Ben Roethlisberger, said he can criticize anybody on his team because he's a captain.
Yeah.
Does he criticize himself, Charlton, for throwing interceptions?
No.
For losing games? This losing streak that they've been on, everybody's criticizing Mike Tomlin. Nobody's criticizing Ben Roethlisberger. They're talking about Tomlin needs to go, not Ben. But Mayfield, for a young player to come into a league, Charlton, and I don't care what league it is, as long as it's professional.
Yeah.
You can't do that. You haven't proven yourself.
No.
The Browns are having the season that you and I talk about. If anybody goes back and listens to our shows at the beginning of the season, Charlton, we said that the Browns would be a 500 club. They're basically at that point.
Google it.
You know, and so this is where they are. But, you know, they're still not in the playoffs. Baker Mayfield has had a good rookie season, Charlton. He's thrown over 25 touchdowns.
Yeah.
That's a good rookie season.
Yeah.
But he still has not, Charlton, proven that he can do things consistently. They had a very weak schedule this year. Next year will turn around.
Yep.
And they had some luck and some bad luck in some games.
Yeah.
But he has to protect himself, Charlton. He needs to keep an eye because a penalty in the NFL is just a penalty.
Just a penalty.
Back in the old days, when I played, he wouldn't have made it through the next game.
Wouldn't have made it.
Plain and simple.
Yeah.
The guys would have taken their shots on it. You'd accept that 15-yard penalty, Charlton, when you're out of the playoffs.
Yep. And it's also a bad look for the organization. You know the guy, he did that garbage at Ohio State when he, I guess, some type of spear. Oklahoma, when they play at Ohio State, he put some type of spear in the O. He got to the O in Ohio. Just low-class mentality. You want more of that coming from the NFL. Big C, the Eagles 32, the Texans 30, maybe in the game of the day, Big C. Your thoughts?
Well, it was, Charlton. You're talking about an outstanding offensive performance, Charlton. When you think about Nick Foles, last year Nick Foles propelled the Eagles to Super Bowl championship.
Yeah.
On Sunday, he did something, Charlton, no Eagle quarterback had ever done in their history. You know, you can look at Norm Snead, you can look at Ron Jaworski, you can look at Randall Cunningham, Charlton, Donovan McNabb. He passed for 471 yards in this game against the Houston Texans.
Wow.
That is a Philadelphia Eagles single-game record.
Yeah.
Not only that, Charlton, he won his second consecutive game.
Yep.
So if I'm the Philadelphia Eagles and I'm looking forward to my future, do I really count on this young man that you had, Carson Wentz, who is injury-prone? Or do I really want to give Nick Foles some money? Because if they don't give him some money, Charlton, he's gone in free agency.
Yeah.
He can be a serviceable quarterback. We talked about last week about him possibly going to the Giants in free agency with the receiving core and running back that they have. I would leave the situation with the Eagles. I wouldn't just stay around waiting on Carson Wentz. They can't pay both of them, Charlton.
That's
but,
true.
You know, what he did in this comeback win against the Texans, who are a playoff team, Charlton. Same thing he did the week before against the Rams, a playoff team. This is a dangerous quarterback and team right now, Charlton, because if they go head on and win and make the playoffs, they have an opportunity to repeat getting to the Super Bowl, regardless of who's in the NFL.
I tell you, they're streaking at the right time. You look at passing Watson, 29 of 40, 339, and then, of course, you talked about it with Foles, 35 of 49, had one pick, but 471 yards. That's flat out performing, Big C. Another big game, the Bears 14-9 over the 49ers. Not a big game in the sense that it was two marquee teams, but the Bears, they did what they had to do. Got to win their team. I'll tell you, the 49ers are not that far from being a better football team, Big C. They just got to find a way to get some of that contract money out of the hands of Garoppolo and use it to make the team better. I mean, they already see their writing on the wall. You got a guy in Mullins that's helping you stay competitive. You don't need to give some quarterback $137 million, Big C. Your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, the 49ers have played well under Nick Mullins at quarterback. The Bears were a disappointment in this last game, but I think because they had secured a playoff spot, Charlton, is that they were just playing to get through the game.
Yeah.
The 49ers right now, their big rave is we're going to have Garoppolo back next year the way that we're performing now.
Big mistake.
Think about how much better we're going to be with Garoppolo. All anybody has to do is look at Garoppolo's stats from the 7 games that he played with the 49ers and see that they're not much better than Mullins if they are in any kind of way. I like what Mullins has done. Put a supporting cast around Mullins. It's not going to happen, though, next year, Charlton. They're going to put Garoppolo back in the lineup, and if they fail with Garoppolo in the lineup, I don't see how he's going to make them a better team, Charlton.
No, he's not.
They have some continuity with Mullins. The Bears, like I said, the Bears are a playoff team. Tremendous defense because they were able to shut down the Niners' offense. But I would like to see the development of Mullins, whether it's with the 49ers or he moves on to another team, Charlton, that I think he potentially could help. One of those teams is looking to draft a quarterback.
I want to say sports is a billion-dollar industry. Boys and girls sports is the foundation of this billion-dollar industry. For every athletic and sporting event, you need athletic and event insurance. We work with Ben and Mark. They've been around half a century. They work with Big C Sports. Whether you're a pro team, a collegiate team, a high school team, or your mom and pop soccer league, when you reach out to them, let them know Big C sent you. Big C, the Rams 31 and the Cardinals 9. It was a must-win for the Rams. They really got to get themselves figured out, whether golf is hurt or not. Oftentimes, if a quarterback's not playing well, it's because the defense figured him out. It's not because he's hurt. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, people have caught up with him. One of the things that had shut down the Rams in the previous 2 games, Charlton, was Todd Gurley's ineffectiveness.
Yeah.
Todd Gurley's had a bad knee. That's the reason why he didn't play in this last game, Charlton. But C.J. Anderson stepped up. They acquired him mid-season, Charlton, after being cut by the Panthers. He stepped in and had over 120 yards rushing in that game, Charlton. That was the difference. The Rams are a run-first pass team, Charlton. And when they cannot run with that play action, it limits what Jared Goff's effectability is.
Yeah.
So we saw that the resurgence of their offense because of the run game. Jared Goff is going to get the credit. But that defense also has to step up. And Ndamukong Suh needs to do a little bit more. When Aaron Donald's getting double-teamed,
Yep.
Ndamukong Suh should be dominating the defensive line, Charlton. He shouldn't be blocked by just one guy. He was double-teamed when he first came into the league all the time.
Yeah.
But C.J. Anderson was a major difference in that game against the Cardinals for the Rams, Charlton, with that 126 yards on the ground.
Yeah, big performance. Big C, a couple of more games. The Saints 31, the Steelers 28. I like when Tomlin went for it. They had the lead. You're on the road. They were the underdog in the game anyway. They almost got that first down, but that game was back and forth. It's a game that shows how equally matched these teams are. They still did not have a Le'Veon Bell in the backfield, but I like the way that he went for it. I still think that if you have a coach that's the second winningest coach, active coach in the NFL with wins and a Super Bowl championship, it's only Belichick and Tomlin. Big C, your thoughts on the game?
Well, Charlton, it comes down to player execution. And I don't care whether you have a winning record or a losing record. It comes down to player execution. And if those players are not there, they didn't have a solid running game. Connor got hurt a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
That running game has been by committee since then. Le'Veon Bell was playing this time of the season. Juju Smith, who would have thought he had fumbled the ball because they would have been in field goal range.
Exactly.
So, but Mike Tomlin gets blamed when a player fumbles the ball because that extra effort. You teach players try to get the extra yards, Charlton.
Yeah.
And when you do that and you fumble, that's the coach's fault. It's because you just didn't go down.
Yeah.
But the interceptions, when they're thrown, that's Mike Tomlin's fault also because been inaccurate.
Yeah.
But, when you look at this team and everybody say it's time to go, one of the things the Rooneys have had is loyalty to their coaches in the NFL, Charlton. They haven't listened to the media.
Yeah.
As much as everybody in the media wants to say that Tomlin must go, they all want to say, I told you so, if he's gone.
Yep.
I don't think that the Rooneys are looking at that, Charlton. They know that they've had stability under him. You look at the Saints, Drew Brees. They've had stability under Drew Brees.
Yep.
They've having a banner year. You got to realize a couple of years ago in New Orleans, Sean Payton was suspended for the year after Bounty Gate, Charlton.
Yeah.
So Greg Williams, who's the coach right now, interim coach in Cleveland, he was suspended for the year. So when you give coaches opportunity to stay in place, New Orleans has been rewarded by keeping Sean Payton in place.
Yep.
They've come around and become a dominant franchise again. It's the same thing in Pittsburgh, Charlton. You have to have a guy who knows how to deal with the modern-day player. Look at the coaching changes that were in the NFL last season for this year, Charlton. which one of those guys is going to the playoffs?
Yep, that's a good point, Big C. And even just looking at some of those stats, Roethlisberger 33 of 50, 380 yards. Breeze 27 of 39, 326 yards. Two more games, and I'm going to talk about the Raiders. The Titans 25, the Redskins 16, and both teams. I mean, the Titans still have an outside chance of getting to the playoffs. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, the biggest problem with the Titans is that Mariota cannot stay healthy, Charles.
Yeah.
Is that every time you turn around, every year we seem to be in the same scenario that Marcus Mariota is getting hurt.
Yeah.
Blaine Gabbert came off the bench and pulled out a victory for the Titans. When you look at the Redskins, Charlton, you're playing a quarterback that was at home for the past 6-7 years.
Yeah.
Playing Madden football on TV. You bring him into the lineup, and he's been the second most productive quarterback you've had.
Yeah.
So the Washington Redskins really have to look into next year, because I don't think Alex Smith is going to come back into the NFL, Charlton, because it would be too risky with that fractured leg that he's had. Colt McCoy has been a journeyman backup his entire career.
Yep.
He's even been there in San Francisco. They got to look at a quarterback. I mean, Josh Johnson played well. You compare his stats to guys that have been on rosters.
Yep.
He was equal to those guys.
Yep.
But the Redskins is an organization that, under Jay Gruden, just can't win.
Yeah, that's true. Big C, two more games. Ravens 22, Chargers 10. The same Jackson that people were saying, well, he doesn't have the skills to be an NFL quarterback, even though he dominated college. I just ask everyone in the universe, Google the networks that told you that he would not make it. And then compare that to what Big C Sports told you about Jackson coming out of college, that he is not only NFL caliber, that he will dominate and he will change defenses. Google it. Google Fox Sports, Google CBS Sports, Google NBC Sports, Google ESPN, and Google Big C Sports. Only one sports network told you that he was NFL ready and that he would change the way defenses play against the Ravens. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, when I look at all the rookie quarterbacks in the NFL this year, Sam Darnold has struggled with this. They had to bench him for a while. Josh Allen struggled with the Bills. They benched him. Josh Rosen has been benched a couple times in Arizona. Baker Mayfield, he's with a team that's surrounding him, Charlton, that has some talent. And he's not even 500 yet as a starter. But when I look at what Lamar Jackson brings, he brings that tangible of changing the game. Just like Deshaun Watson in Houston, Charlton.
Yep.
Just like Russell Wilson in Seattle. They bring something to the game. Even Patrick Mahomes. They bring that intangible around, Charlton, that they have that innate sense to make things happen in the game.
Yeah.
That they're not limited when things fall apart with the offense, when a lineman misses a block, when there's been a fumble. They uplift their teams. That's one of the things that they can't gauge when you go to the combine, Charlton, is how teammates will respond to you in game action.
Yeah.
Are you calm under pressure? Lamar Jackson has demonstrated all of that, Charlton. All the things that people said in the combine and these scouting reports that you see on TV, saying that he did not have. Just like with Deshaun Watson. Well, he has a slow release and he can't read a defense. Well, he had a real slow release on one play against the Eagles, Charlton, when he avoided 7 tackles. Okay, it took him a while to get the ball out of his hands. But he completed it for a first down. I see the same thing with Lamar Jackson, Charlton, is that he keeps a defense off balance. Everybody said, well, he can't keep running. He's not going to run every play, Charlton. Michael Vick didn't run every play, and he was the greatest running quarterback in NFL history. But he got 2 different organizations to the playoffs. Never got credit for that. Colin Kaepernick, great running quarterback. But he got an organization to the Super Bowl and the NFC Championship in consecutive years. Lamar Jackson has that ability, Charlton. He makes the playoffs. The defense that plays them has to be in fear. Okay? He has that ability to be effective. He's developing week by week. Think about it. He's only played 6 games in the NFL. All these other quarterbacks have more games than him. But he's 5-1 as a starter.
He's amazing. It's amazing that you think about that. Big C, tonight and Christmas Eve, a lot of people getting ready to celebrate the rebirth of Christ. In the Oakland Alameda County Coliseum, it is raining in Northern California. It may clear throughout the evening, but for them to have maybe the final game in Oakland, against Denver, one of their biggest rivals, it shows how Gruden came in. Mark Davis did not do what his father thought. His father fired Gruden. His son hires Gruden, gives him $100 million, just irresponsible. And the Raiders are just a shell of what they used to be, Big C. You think about the Raider organization, some of the great plays in the history of that organization. You have the 3 Super Bowls, the Holy Roller, the Sea of Hands, and you have so much that may never be seen again in Oakland, Big C. Your thoughts?
Well, I think those raindrops may be the melancholy trail to the Raiders, Charlton's history in Oakland.
Yeah.
And it's sad that it has to end this way, Charlton. It'd be even sadder with a loss for that once proud organization.
Yeah.
But this is when you talk about the biggest disappointment in the NFL, Charlton, it's right there in Oakland.
Yeah.
You bring in this coach that you pay an exorbitant amount of money. He fractures the franchise that was in place, that it had some stability through the players and the general manager, Charlton. They're all gone. That history of that organization, he stripped it before they left that city. And now, as a fan, I mean, I would find it hard as a fan to even go wish farewell to the Raiders in their final game, Charlton.
Yeah.
The greatest ability that fans have in any sport, collegiate, professional, or whatever, is not to support.
Yeah.
That is the strength of fans, Charlton, is not to support. And when you're having someone's back turned on you, and they're saying you still have to kiss up to us with our back turned.
Yeah.
That's the greatest insult to a community.
Yeah.
Is that this arrogant, inherited owner, he didn't build a franchise, he inherited through his father's death, Charlton.
Yeah.
So he had no loyalty to the people of Oakland that have supported that franchise, his players, and his family since 1960, Charlton.
Yeah.
He's just walking away because somebody told him they would give him more.
Yeah.
But the problem is, Charlton, you have to produce a product.
Yeah.
And a product of winning. That is the day's history of professional sports. The Rams are very fortunate in both of their moves, Charlton. When they went to St. Louis, they put a winning product on the field shortly.
Yeah.
Went to a Super Bowl, went to back-to-back Super Bowls. When they came back to Los Angeles, what did they do? They put another winning product on the field, Charlton. They turned the organization around. The Raiders, when they went to Oakland, they put a winning product on the field, Charlton.
Yeah.
They came back to Oakland, put a winning product on the field. But they're going to leave with a losing product this time, Charlton.
Yep.
They're one of the more abysmal products in the league.
Well,
Vegas is a town built on winners, Charlton.
Yeah.
You know, people go to Vegas to win. I think about when UNLV under Jerry Tarkanian, one of the greatest programs in college basketball.
Yeah.
It was like Gucci Road. It was harder to get into a Vegas game than it was a Laker game during Showtime.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can get a seat anywhere now at a Vegas game, Charlton.
Yeah. Yeah.
What is it going to be like with the Raiders going there? You'll get that one season honeymoon.
Yeah.
But those personal seat licenses, Charlton, that will run people away quicker than anything in a transient city.
Well, if it is the last game, what a shame, because it would be like the Green Bay Packers leaving. It would be like the Chicago Bears leaving. It would be like the New York Giants leaving and going to a different state for whatever reason, Big C. I want to close out today, Big C Sports, NBA, going into the NBA, the Eastern Conference, Toronto Raptors 25-10, Milwaukee Bucks 22-10. In the Western Conference, you have Denver Nuggets at 21-10, Golden State Warriors at 23-11. In the Eastern Conference, you know, we talk about needing a miracle. Chicago Bulls and New York Knicks 9-25, and the Cavaliers are 8-26. And you think about the Western Conference, Phoenix Suns 8-26. Going into tomorrow, Big C, for Christmas, there's a lot of big games, but none bigger than the LA Lakers at the Golden State Warriors. It might be maybe even a double-digit win by Golden State, but it also could be close, Big C. Your thoughts?
Well, you think about it. It's become synonymous with the Warriors playing LeBron James on Christmas.
Yeah.
You know, it's almost like the New England Patriots winning the AFC East. This is what you see every year.
Yeah.
And you know, the nation, I guess, wants to see this matchup. As I say, I'm not concerned about this matchup until February.
Yeah.
Right now, when you look at the stability of the Warriors, and I think all the media brothers out there said the Warriors are done with, they're falling apart.
Yeah.
Kevin Durant was out. He didn't want to be there any longer. He wasn't there to play. Charlton, they're there to play as an organization.
Yeah.
It's amazing that when there's a little internal strife that happens everywhere.
Yeah.
I don't care whether you're at home in a relationship. I don't care if you're in the workplace, whether sports or just an office environment, Charlton. you don't agree with everybody.
Yep, you
But
don't.
when you're there, you have a common goal when you're employed, is to succeed. That's what the Warriors have done, Charlton, succeeded over the last half decade.
Yeah.
The Lakers are a team in transition. This is a true test of stability to see where these two organizations are. If LeBron goes back to that mentality, I have to take over the games,
Yeah.
the Warriors will just blow them off the court, Charlton, because they know that that's all they have to worry about is LeBron.
Yeah.
But a lot of people don't realize the second best player in this lineup is JaVale McGee.
Yeah.
Because he knows the Warriors, Charlton. He can be most effective. But I honestly think in this game, he'll get limited play time.
Yeah. I just tell you, it's great for the holidays. It's great for Christmas. It's great for so many things coming up. And I just hope everybody has a very Merry Christmas, especially when we go out to the churches. Remember, it's about the rebirth of Christ, not how many toys you bought, but even for all the churches all over the world, even if you're the Vatican, I hope that when you have the picture of Christ up on your wall in your churches, just turn to Colossians 1:15, that images of Jesus, what he really looked like. Revelation chapter 1, verses 14 and 15, the book of Daniel chapter 7, verse 9 and 10 and 6. Christ had hair like lamb's wool and skin the color of brass. I think if we tell the truth about that, the clergy, we can take a step at ending racism in this great country when people realize that Christ was a man of color and that he only walked the continent of Africa. It would do a lot to end the ignorance that starts racism. I hope that we can have a year of atonement, that all people, whether you believe in God or not, it's okay to pray, believe in God. Whatever you want to believe is fine. But let's learn to respect our fellow man by having them Google. Big C, I want to wish you and your family a very Merry Christmas. Back in the day, there was a man by the name of Drew Boudini Brown. He was known as Muhammad Ali's right-hand man. He would always tell Ali, with all you got to use, how can you lose? Rumble, young man, rumble, Big C. What are you looking forward to in this sports universe?
Well, Charlton, I want to say this. Houston, they had a problem. I want to give out my congratulations to the Army Cadets, Charlton, who played the most solid, rounded bowl game, college bowl game of the season.
Yeah.
In a 70-14 victory over University of Houston.
Wow.
These young men, Charlton, play with honor and pride, not for professionalism, but for their country on and off the field, Charlton.
Yeah.
They set a record. They tied a record for the largest margin of victory in a bowl game, Charlton, 56 points. And they did that with integrity, not being brash and running it in on the other opponent.
Yeah.
Their quarterback tied a record, Charlton, 5 touchdowns rushing in a bowl game. So they didn't throw the ball trying to run up the score so much. They did it the old-fashioned way, Charlton.
Yep.
But the Cadets also, Charlton, set a record for victories in one season with 11.
Wow.
And so I want to send out my congratulations to all the military academies, Charlton, not just for the fine men and women that you create that help protect and run our country over the years, but for having class and character in sportsmanship, Charlton.
And speaking of that, we wish you all a very Merry Christmas. Follow Big C Sports every Monday through Friday at 5 and 6 p.m. worldwide on the Big C Sports Network, on the #1 network in the United States of America. And Big C Sports has been voted the #1 sports show in the universe, according to Big C. And them good old boys down south, as we always tell you, there's never, ever an excuse for domestic violence. If you know any man or woman going through that garbage, please call 911, because no man or woman should ever have to go through that garbage on their own. And as we always tell you on every Big C Sports show, we thank you, we appreciate you, and we hope that you have a super fantastic day.